Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Tuesday, July 29th, 2025, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $ORIONNWSF or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got the Seattle Mariners versus the Athletics. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 5 minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Tuesday, everyone. And on the thumb on the left is our stud center fielder, Julio Rodriguez. And on the right, center fielder stud for the Athletics, Lawrence Butler. Now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners at shortstop, J.P. Crawford. Batting second, playing center field, Julio Rodriguez. Batting third, catching today for Seattle, the best catcher in baseball, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, first baseman, has a hit in every game so far with the Seattle Mariners. His first home run in a Seattle uniform yesterday. Can he do it again today? Josh Naylor. Batting fifth, playing left field, Randy Arozarena. Batting sixth, DHing for the Mariners, Jorge Polanco. Batting seventh, playing right field, Dominic Canzone. Batting eighth, playing third base, Ben Williamson. Defense at third was amazing. It won us the game last night. Good job, Big Ben. And batting ninth, playing second base, it's a Cole world, Cole Young. And on the mound for the Mariners, with a 4-3 record, an ERA of 3.64, it is Logan Evans. Now let's get into the starting lineup for the home Athletics. Leading off for the Athletics in center field, Lawrence Butler. Batting second, playing first base, Nick Kurtz. Batting third, DHing for the Athletics, Brent Rooker. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, catching today for the Athletics, Shea Langeliers. Batting fifth, playing left field, Tyler Soderstrom. Batting sixth, playing third base, Miguel Andujar. Batting seventh, playing right field, Carlos Cortez. Batting eighth, the former Seattle Mariners second baseman, Luis Urias. And batting ninth, playing shortstop, Daryl Hernandez. And on the mound for the Athletics with a 4-11 record, an ERA of 4.95, Luis Severino. And we're going to be shooting for 20 likes within the first hour, 50 at the halfway point, and we're shooting for 100 likes and 100 on the Dono train. Tridents up. Let's go M's. And again, we had a very successful, matchup yesterday, even though things did get shaky kind of late. But it's always nice to be able to see the Mariners find a way. And yesterday was really more about the defense, than the offense. And again, Josh Naylor had the best game he's had in a Seattle uniform. And after hitting into a double play in the first inning with bases loaded with one out, I knew Ben was going to be able to make up for it in the box and hopefully defensively. And not only did he do, the hits in the box, but he was actually being able to come up with those big defensive plays at third late. And if you go back and rewatch that matchup or see the highlights, that might have been the reason that we ended up winning, because if Big Ben doesn't make those plays at third for some of those key outs late in the matchup in the 8th and the 9th, realistically, the Athletics were getting to a point where that Uncle Mo and that momentum was starting to heat up, and we could have easily lost, in extras or in regulation. So shout out to Big Ben. I'm always a fan of guys that play great defense, and I love two-way players, and hopefully we'll have a great showing here tonight. All day in the building. What's good, brother? I appreciate your commitment to the channel. And again, we should be, we definitely are at that 125 number, and once we, hit that, then we can start going to the 150. And again, we've been, we're usually in that 125 to 150 range. So we can always, bump it up just slightly. And I like the way that you think. Sometimes you got to shoot, slightly, higher until you end up getting there on a regular basis. And then once you're there on a regular basis, then we can start going for 150 and then eventually 200. First pitch from Luis Severino to J.P. Crawford. Pitches high and away with a four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Extremely hot here in the Pacific Northwest, 90-plus degrees. So we're just trying to manage the heat the best way that we can. 1-0 pitch from Severino to Crawford. Low and away with the slider, 85 miles an hour, missing by Severino. 2 balls and no strikes to J.P. Crawford. And JP had the day off yesterday. Hopefully he's a little bit re-energized, and hopefully he'll be able to get a hit in his first 2 at-bats, at least one of the first 2 at-bats, if not both, to kind of set the tone here for Seattle. .20 pitch, low and at the knees with the slider. And Severino is pitching everywhere, high and away, low and away, and low and at the knees, literally every single place besides down the middle and in the box. 3 balls and no strikes to J.P. Crawford. And obviously this should lead to a walk if he's patient, or hopefully a base hit if he can time it, with the right pitch. But obviously not being able to hit the strike zone in the first 3 pitches, you would hope that the people in the dugout will be telling him, if you have to take a strike on pitch 4, do it. But the chances of him pitching 3 strikes in a row after pitching 3 balls, high and away, low and away, and low and at the knees, probably not very likely. So hopefully JP will take the walk here, but we will find out. Top of the first inning, 0-0, Mariners and Athletics. Severino on the mound, J.P. Crawford in the box. Time is called. .30 pitch, and JP does the right thing after a brief timeout there, to try to maybe get his bearings. Doesn't work. 4 straight pitches, 4 straight balls. JP Crawford on first. Great start here for the Mariners. Next up is center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, J-Rod. First pitch to Julio from Severino. Takes a strike looking right down the middle with the cutter. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and inside with the sinker, 94 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. Severino with a 4-11 record with an ERA of 4.95. So obviously nothing to be intimidated about, with only 4 wins and 11 losses, and an ERA just hovering under 5. So you would think we should be able to get 1 to 3 runs within the first 4 innings on Severino if we can connect, and hopefully we'll end up getting a few home runs here today. 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Low and away by Julio Rodriguez. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at first and no outs. And after that 3-0 pitch, to J.P. Crawford before he walked him, he slipped. So I'm not sure if he's, having an injury of some sort or another as Julio goes out for out number 1. But obviously that's something to monitor with Severino. Next up is big dumper catcher Cal Raleigh. We're looking for singles. We're looking for doubles. We're looking for the occasional triple. But at the end of the day, we're looking for home run number 42 and home run number 43. First pitch to big dumper Cal Raleigh from Severino is low and at the knees. Sweeper, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. Low and in the zone, but for whatever reason called ball. 2 balls and no strikes from Severino to big dumper Cal Raleigh. And realistically, this ump could have called the first 2 pitches strikes, and it could have been 0-2, but decides to call them 2-0. 2-0 pitch, high and inside. 3 balls and no strikes to big dumper Cal Raleigh. And if this is how, the first few batters are going to go, I don't see Severino lasting more than a couple innings. Obviously can't hit the strike zone. I'm not sure if he is battling an injury or it's something that he's just trying to play through it, or if he needs to change his cleats and whatnot, but definitely does not look comfortable, on the mound. And I get it. He's 4-11. He's got not the greatest record, but again, definitely looks shaky here. Maybe, the most shaky I've seen a pitcher look against the Mariners in the first inning, maybe all year. 3-0 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle, finally gets a strike call. 3 balls and 1 strike to big dumper Cal Raleigh. Luis Severino on the mound, big dumper in the box. 3-1 pitch, fouls that one off, right down the middle. Count still is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes from Severino to big dumper Cal Raleigh. All right, awesome. That's good to hear. Tell your sister happy birthday for me. STL with the tour. Go Tigers. Appreciate the early support. Every dollar counts, man. Let me know what you want to do for a photo, and I got you. Stacks, racks with the little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. We're at 298 to go. Appreciate you. Hope you're having a good day. And I think a lot of us are waiting, for college football and the NFL. It's going to be a very exciting year for sure. Top of the first inning, runner at first, J.P. Crawford with 4 straight balls. 3-2 pitch, and Cal Raleigh with a beautiful single to right. Now we have runners at first and second with only 1 out. Nice job by Cal, being patient, in that full count and finding that perfect pitch, perfect follow-through swing. And now we have runners at first and second for a guy that had his best game as a Seattle Mariner in his early career here. Home run yesterday, as well as a base knock, Josh Naylor. First pitch from Severino to Naylor, high and away with a sweeper, 83 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Let's see if we can get something on Severino here early. I would love to get 1, 2, 3 runs in the first inning if possible. Great choice, man. Yeah, I'm definitely, it was definitely a sad, week. Malcolm Jamal Warner from the Cosby Show. If you grew up in the 80s or 90s, then you had Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness, my favorite. Out of anybody that's in that kind of rock metal category, and then Hulk Hogan, and then you had a few others that ended up passing away as well. So may not be as big of names as those 3, but usually it's kind of the rule of 3. 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes with runners at first and second, JP and Cal with only 1 out. One-two pitch. That one's fouled off, low and inside. Tries to jam the hitter and does. 1 ball and 2 strikes with runners at first and second with 1 out. Severino on the mound and Josh Naylor in the box. 1-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss, and down goes Naylor. Big strikeout there from Severino. 2 away. All right, let's see if Randy can end up getting a home run or a single or double to get an RBI here, hopefully, in the first inning. Left fielder in the 5-hole, Randy Arozarena, who's been extremely hot since June 11th. First pitch, high and away, 1-0 count. Top of the first inning, runners at first and second with 2 outs. Severino definitely looking a little shaky here in the first inning. And off the third pitch from the first batter to J.P. Crawford went down to a knee. Trainers came out to look at him, but it may just be a cleat issue or whatnot, but definitely does not look comfortable. 2-0 pitch, high and away. 3 balls and no strikes to Randy Arozarena, and hopefully we get the same situation as JP when he had the 3-0 count. You just take that next pitch or 2, and hopefully that will lead to bases loaded with 2 outs. Let's go, Randy. Now, if Randy can connect, with a good pitch right down the middle, I don't mind if he swings, but I would hope that he would just take the next couple pitches and hopefully take this walk. 3-0 pitch, takes a strike looking, high and inside, paints that line and corner beautifully, Severino. 3 balls and 1 strike with runners at first and second and 2 outs. We're at 0-0 here early for the Mariners and Athletic. And it doesn't matter if you go all the way back to the Black Sabbath days or just with Ozzy. Music videos are incredible. And, they've remastered some of them on YouTube in like 4K. It's just a blast from the past, my guy. So many quality songs that are going to be, iconic and eternal forever. 3-1 pitch, takes another strike looking, high and inside. That one is borderline there on the corner. Could have been called ball or strike. Now count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Let's see if we can take advantage of Severino being shaky here early or if he'll get out of the jam. Three-two pitch and big swing and a miss. Down goes Randy Arozarena, and we leave 2 stranded. And again, it's nice to be able to get a couple guys on, but you want them to knock them in. And it's not going to be likely you're going to hit a home run often in the first inning when you first come up to the batter's box. But again, hopefully that'll be good things to come. With the future innings to come about us here, but. A missed opportunity. If we were just able to find a way to get a hit by Naylor or Randy, it could be 1-0 or 2-0 here early. But again, we'll see what we get here as the game progresses. I got a couple Aussies here for you, STL. Appreciate you. My favorite metal individual of all time, the Prince of Darkness. Rest in peace. Go to the bottom of the first inning and see who we have up here for the Athletic. On the mound for the Mariners, 4-3 record, ERA of 3.64, Logan Evans. And he's very good at home, not very good on the road. We'll see if he can step up and find a way to win here on the road against the A's. Leading off in center field, Lawrence Butler. Batting second, first baseman Nick Kurtz. And batting third, DHing Brent Rooker. And the A's got some bad news. Obviously, he was already, on the IL and on the injured list and whatnot, but they ended up extending it now to a 10-day IL with a broken forearm, Jacob Wilson. And just like Aaron Judge, both of these guys were primed, to be in consideration of winning the AL MVP, Aaron Judge, which he still may after he comes back from the injury. And then Jacob Wilson, potentially winning AL Rookie of the Year. But we'll see when he's able to come back. Both players have been fantastic this year, Judge and Jacob Wilson. And I wish the best to both both of those guys. The game is always going to be better when you have the best players playing, not on the sidelines. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes and 100 on the Dono train. And then obviously once we hit that hundo, we'll be going for 125 and then 150. First pitch from Logan Evans to Lawrence Butler. Takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, fouled off, low and away. No balls and 2 strikes from Evans to Butler. Trident's up. Let's go M's, baby. 1-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss, and down goes Butler. Great start there on a good hitter by Logan Evans. Way to bring that electricity. Punch out with your first batter. Awesome job. 1 away. Next up for the Athletics, first baseman Nick Kurtz. And we know with Nick Kurtz, just a few days ago, he ended up having one of the best games in MLB history in the last 100, 150 years. Went 6 for 6 with 4 home runs. You know, we did notice Eugenio Suarez, hoping that he comes back to the Mariners, had a 4 home run game, a few weeks back, but not 6 for 6 like Nick Kurtz. And Nick is a rookie, which makes it even more impressive. First pitch from Evans to Kurtz, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and away, takes a strike looking, what should have been called a ball. No balls and 2 strikes from Evans to Kurtz. 0-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Evans on the mound, Kurtz in the box. 1-2 pitch, change up, 89 miles an hour, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Evans to Kurtz. And Kurtz will have to step up, obviously, for the absence of Jacob Wilson for at least the next few weeks. And I know he's up for the challenge. 2-2 pitch, low and at the knees. Count now is full for Logan Evans. 3 balls, 2 strikes, nobody on, and 1 out. 11 starts, 4-3 record, 59.1 innings pitched, 3.64 ERA, 21 walks, 43 strikeouts. He's typically, the 5 in the rotation. Kind of gives me vibes of Brian Wu from a few years ago. You could see the potential there. He still has quite a ways to go, but we do feel that he's better than Emerson Hancock, who was a first-round draft pick from Georgia a few years ago. And again, at some point, we're going to end up, getting a few guys, in the starting rotation, obviously with Cade and Durangelo whenever they are ready. 3-2 pitch, and that is a walk. Kurtz to first. Next up in the 3-hole, DHing Brent Rooker. He's got home run power, and he can get you singles or doubles and any day of the week. What are the chances, STL, that LSU repeats as NCAA college baseball champions? Like, when's the last time that we've had a college baseball team go back-to-back? You would know that since you watch more college baseball than anyone I know. Is that something that is pretty rare, or does it happen from time to time? I mean, I know the Beavers were good, a few years back in their heyday, and again, they're normally one of the better college baseball teams. I usually try to keep up, with what they're doing whenever they're good, which is most of the time. First pitch from Evans to Rooker, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, outside, 1 ball and 1 strike to Brent Rooker. 1-1 pitch, and a dribbler there, fielder's choice, and that is 2 away. Good defense there by the Mariners. Next up for the Athletics, catcher Shea Langoliers. Bottom of the first inning with a runner at first and 2 outs. Evans on the mound, Langoliers in the box. First pitch from Logan Evans, takes a strike looking, high and away with a sweeper. 84 miles an hour, 0-1 count. And we've been on a nice tear, with the increase of subs and views, donos and shares. I appreciate every single one of y'all that has showed some love and all of the new subs that we've been acquiring here in 2025. 0-1 pitch, high and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike from Evans to Langoliers. Yeah, well, anytime you win a championship, obviously recruiting is always going to be great for LSU. They have great history, for athletes in every sport, whether it be baseball or basketball or gymnastics, they find a way to get some of the best. And obviously, we know there's been quite a few players, from the NFL, from LSU, Joe Burrow, obviously Jamar Chase, Jay Jetta, just to name a few that have really made a name for themselves in the NFL. And then obviously Paul Skeens and Livy Dunn, the power couple, just as of late. 1-1 pitch, fouled off, right down the middle. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at first and 2 outs. Evans on the mound, Langoliers in the box. Well, with Gino's trade value, he just got hit in the hand yesterday. X-rays came up negative. The Tigers said, if we can't have him, no one can. But luckily it came up negative as there is out number 3. End of the first inning, 0-0 Mariners and Athletics. And I do think that there's still a chance, because you have to understand, if you go back and look at all the trades the Mariners have made, with teams within the last 5-6 years, the number 1 trade partner that we have, is typically the Diamondbacks. So again, just because we got Naylor doesn't necessarily mean we're done. And on top of that, we have more to offer than the Cubs and the Tigers. We have the number 1 farm system in baseball. So if that means that we have to give up Harry Ford, another player, and a pitcher to get Gino to come back home, I wouldn't be shocked if that ends up happening. The Cubs are in it. The Tigers are in it. Obviously, the Yankees are out, since they picked up Ryan McMahon from the Rockies. So they're not probably going to get him, since they already picked up a third baseman. You would assume that they're out of the running. And again, I think that the Cubs and the Mariners would be the best fit. Tigers are a good team, but I just can't really imagine him playing, on, the Detroit Tigers. But based off, vibe and, uniform and how he would fit into the lineup, he would be great for any team. But it kind of, feels like to me, Cubs and Mariners are the front runners and Tigers are in the mix. Obviously, they're a good team. But again, I'm not sure if Gino will have a say in it or not, or if they, are just going to be able to deal him based on whoever gives them the best load haul in return. Not JT in the building. What's good? Next up for the Mariners here in the top of the second is Jorge Polanco. Severino on the mound, Polo in the box. First pitch, high and away, 1-0 count. Mariner games are on typically in Oregon and Washington on Root Sports. So I'm not sure if you have like Xfinity or Comcast, or depending on what cable provider that you have. Now, if you don't have satellite or cable, I'm not sure with the Root Sports app if that allows, everything there. But again, there's a lot of streaming links as well that you'd have access to watch if you want to watch along. 1-0 pitch, fouls off, high and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike to Jorge Polanco. Libra in the building. What's good? One pitch in play. And grounds out to first. Toe tap on the bag, and that is 1 away. Yeah, and again, we'll see. They don't want to, have him in there too soon, based on the load that he pitched at LSU. That's just based on what they've been saying in the organization. But whenever we see him, whenever that day may be, I don't expect to see him this year, but if we see him next year, whenever that may be, it'll be a lot of excitement. He will be a starter. just like Durangelo when he's ready. And then at some point, it will be Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Brian Wu, Durangelo, who can pitch from the left side and the right side, and our first-round pick, Cade Anderson, who might end up being the best player in the draft overall. And when that happens, we're probably going to have the best pitching staff in baseball. I don't really see a whole lot of teams being able to match up. And on top of that, having Logan Evans and Emerson Hancock. And at that point, I don't think we'll have Luis Castillo on the team anymore. 0-2 pitch to Dominic Canzone, fouls that one off, low and away. No balls and 2 strikes from Severino to Canzone. But I'm telling you, when that happens and Durangelo is like the 4 and, Cade is the 5, or Cade is the 4 and Durangelo's the 5, which realistically will be, and you can pretty much, mix and match all those guys with Gilbert, Kirby, Wu, Durangelo, and Cade. And I'm telling you, that's going to be some exciting stuff. Down goes Dominic Canzone for out number 2, 2 away. All right, we're at 33, 17 more to get to the halfway point. We're trying to get 100 on the likes and 100 on the dono train. And then once we hit 100 on the likes, we'll try to go for 125 to 150. Next up, the hero for us last night, Ben Williamson. And we know with Big Ben, he can do things on defense more so in the box. I think Cole Young is a better hitter than Ben Williamson at this point, but Ben's defense is much better, and he definitely helped us win the game last night. First pitch to Ben Williamson, takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. And I love two-way players. Ken Griffey Jr., guys that can play offense and defense, and especially if you can be special at defense. If you can end up winning like a Gold Glove and winning games for your team in the most crucial, moments. Those are the things that really make a guy stand out. 0-2 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Severino to Williamson. 4-11 record with an ERA of 4.95. So nothing really to worry about here. We just want to make sure we capitalize early and often. We left 2 stranded. JP had a walk, Cal had a single, but we couldn't get a Naylor or a Rosarina to knock them in, unfortunately. 1-2 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Ben Williamson. Let's go, Big Ben. Let's go, B-Dubs. 2-2 pitch, low and away. That one could have been strike 3, but called ball. Count now is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, nobody on, and 2 outs. Ump has definitely not been very good at this point, but we could say that pretty much every day. A lot of missed calls for the Athletics. Not so much for the Mariners just yet, but there's a lot of calls that should have probably went the other way, but we'll see how this at-bat turns out. And down goes Big Ben for out number 3. Only has 1 home run on the year. Him and Cole Young are probably only going to hit 5, for the year. They might not even get to 5, but we just need to keep expanding their, talent as far as singles hitters, and that can still help us win games. Let's go to the bottom of the 2nd inning and see who's up next here for the Athletics and Logan Evans. Logan Evans, 4-3 record, an ERA of 3.64. Very good at home, not very good on the road. So this would be one of the first times that he would be able to get a dub on the road, and hopefully he can continue his success that he's had early on. Williamson grounds out to that shortstop, throw to first, and that is out number 3, baby. Leading off for the Athletics in the 5-hole, left fielder Tyler Soderstrom. Batting second in the 6-hole, third baseman Miguel Andujar. And batting third, right fielder in the 7-hole, Carlos Cortez. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Let's go, baby. Want to strike early and often. Yeah, but it definitely feels Like we're getting the right players at the right time. And again, it's just, slow but sure progression. And it would not be shocking to me, in the next 5 to 10 years if, we start making a couple ALDS, ALCS, or possible World Series. We may not be there yet, but you can see that we're slowly but surely trying to get the right pieces to get there. First pitch from Evans to Soderstrom. Takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike to Tyler Soderstrom, who had a lot of home runs at the beginning of the year. He was extremely hot when Polo was hot in April, and has cooled off a little bit, since that time. Same thing with Polo. Hard to be able to be a monster in the box for, 6 straight months, unless you're like Aaron Judge. 1-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Evans to Soderstrom. Bottom of the second inning, we're knotted up at 0 here early. Logan Evans on the mound, Tyler Soderstrom in the box. 2-2 pitch, low and away. That should have been strike 3, and I'm not really sure what this ump is looking at here, but a lot of these, batters, should either be punched out or, balls or strikes, strikes or balls, but the strike zone for this ump is very odd today. And that turns into a walk, which should have been a punch out. Next up is Miguel Andujar. And I don't know if these are just makeup calls, for Seattle getting some of the calls early in the first inning. But I guess if you're going to be bad both ways, not just towards one team, but definitely the strike zone is much bigger for this ump. Or maybe I should say maybe more, selective and smaller in certain locations of the plate. First pitch from Evans to Andujar should have been a strike, called ball again. So again, I'm not really sure what I'm looking at here. Everything that's in the square, it's like should be a strike, you would assume, but he's calling stuff in the box, ball. So I'm very confused here. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking high and inside. That one's on the line as well, and he doesn't really have any consistency here. You don't know if anything on the line will be a ball or strike. And there's pitches that are in the square that he's calling ball. So, I haven't really seen umping this bad since maybe the Bronx when we played the Yankees on the road. But again, if you're going to be bad for both teams, I guess. 1-2 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Evans to Andujar. Cody in the building, what's good? TJ in the building, what's good? Bottom of the second inning with a runner at first. No outs. Evans on the mound. Andujar in the box. Two-two pitch, and Andujar strikes out swinging. There we go. Nice job by Logan Evans with the punch out there, my guy. Way to bring that electricity. Keep grinding. Even though this ump is not going to give us a lot of these calls on the line. Nice job. 1 away. Next up, right fielder Carlos Cortez. Yeah, but this ump is like crazy bad. Like I said, normally it's like you'll see maybe one bad pitch, maybe during that half inning or a couple, but you don't want to see like bad calls, 2 or 3 per batter, every batter, for the inning. It's like, but again, I don't know. We'll see if this is just the way that he's going to ump this whole entire game, but it's definitely going to make it harder for the pitchers to be able to get outs. 0-1 pitch, fouls that one off, low and away. No balls and 2 strikes from Evans to Cortez. And I don't really mind, if we don't get calls or if the A's don't get calls if they're on the line. But when you have stuff that's in the box, clearly, and you call that a ball, that makes me kind of, second guess what I'm looking at. 0-2 pitch, in play, and flied out to left, and that is 2 away. Next up, for the Athletics, former Seattle Mariners second baseman Luis Urias. First pitch from Logan Evans to Urias. Takes a strike looking right down the middle. 0-1 count. Glad to see that was called a strike, not a ball. gained a new sub. Appreciate the new sub count that we've been able to grind, about 5 to 15 per stream. We just got our first. We'll see how many more we get here tonight. Oh, 1 pitch, fouled off with the cutter, 88 miles an hour by Logan Evans. No balls and 2 strikes with a runner at first and 2 outs. 0-0 here early, Mariners and Athletics. Evans on the mound. Former Seattle Mariner Luis Urias in the box. 0-2 pitch, fouled off, low and away. No balls and 2 strikes from Evans to Urias. 0-2 pitch, low and away with a cutter, missing the plate by about 5 feet. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at first and 2 outs. Evans on the mound, Urias in the box. And we have at least 50 people in the room that haven't hit the like button yet. So if you are in the room, do your boy a solid. We need 11 more to get to 50, and we're trying to hit 100 and 100. It definitely helps out with the metrics. When you do hit the like button, it'll help for people that are looking for Mariners, Athletics, or an MLB stream, and the overall analytics and metrics that YouTube looks at, so that way we can get more recommendations for people that are looking for us. 1-2 pitch, low and away with the sweeper. Count now is 2 balls, 2 strikes with a runner at first and 2 outs. Bottom of the second inning, we're knotted up at 0 here early. 2-2 pitch, low and away. Evans missing the strike zone badly here on these last 3 pitches. Count now is full, 3 balls, 2 strikes, runner at first and 2 outs. Come on, Evans. 3-2 pitch. That one is fouled off high and inside. Count still full. 3 balls, 2 strikes from Evans to Urias. Yeah, but definitely I think Cade, that will be a popular jersey when he does come up. And he's a lefty. We don't have any lefties for starting pitching, so it'll be really exciting to have something like that. 3-2 pitch, and takes a strike, looking for strike number 3, and that is the end of the inning. Great job by Logan Evans. I mean, we're already having to battle this terrible ump behind home plate that's calling strikes, balls, strikes, and not just like 1 or 2, pitches so far. In these first 2 innings, I think I've seen like 10 bad calls, and that might be a record. And the only thing I can think of that was similar to this type of umping was the umps that we had when we had to go face the Yankees right before the All-Star break, when we went to the Bronx. Those were the worst umps that I've seen, all year. But this one might be number 2. But at least Logan is able to battle out and get that punch out. Nice job, Logan Evans. I see your development. I like the swagger and the goggles. Keep it up. Next up for the Mariners here in the top of the 3rd inning, second baseman Cole Young. It's a Cole world, baby. Batting second, 0 for 0 with a walk with his first at bat. Had the day off yesterday. Hopefully it re-energized him. JP Crawford. Let's go, JP. And batting third, center fielder Stud, who's been hot as of late. Took a nice break, from the All-Star festivities and let Randy Arozarena go. And it looks like that really did help out, get his mind and his body right. And hopefully we get some nice hits or home runs out of Julio Rodriguez. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. $40 likes. That's thick there, baby. Let them know, man. I'm not really too sure, and again, we do have people from all over the globe, but I think even if you're watching all over the globe, and even if English isn't your first language, I think, the like button is kind of universal. Everyone kind of knows what that is when you watch YouTube. So hopefully we can get some people to help out with that. And we have been getting, around that 120 to 150, range with the like. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get people to do it for whatever reason, but I do appreciate every single person watching. We've been able to increase the monthly audience by a big number. And we've been able to get every age gap from 13 to 17 to 65 and up and everything in between. Female audience is up from 5% to 15%. And then I'll go over the countries that we're being able to go over here. Almost too many to list. First pitch from Severino to Cole Young. High and away, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. Big swing and a miss from Cole Young. 1 ball and 1 strike from Severino to Young. 1-1 pitch. High and away. Big swing and a miss by Cole. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Come on, baby. Let's go, Cole. And we got United States, Dominican Republic, Mexico, Venezuela, Japan, Canada, Philippines, Nicaragua, Taiwan, Puerto Rico, Australia, New Zealand, and many, many other countries. So if you are watching from one of those, thank you so much, and I appreciate you. 2-2 pitch. Low and at the knees. Count now is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. We're in the top of the third, knotted up at 0. And again, this is going to be one of those games where it might be, slow and steady wins the race early. But again, at some point, someone's going to have a meltdown. One starting pitcher or someone in the pen, and hopefully it's not us. 3-2 pitch, and Young pops out to third. 1 away. We get Cole with a base hit later in the matchup. Next up for the Mariners with a walk in his first appearance, J.P. Crawford. Let's go, J.P. First pitch to J.P. Crawford from Severino. Sweeper, high and away, 84 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Not JT with a 5er. Appreciate you. Let me know what you want to do for a photo if there's anything that you want to be able to see, my guy. Appreciate you. 1-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes from Severino to JP. For the dream, baby. And you know how hard I work, man. And, you're one of those people that's kind of saw where we were at number-wise, a few years ago to where we're at now. So feels good to be able to keep growing. Stacks, racks, with some jack, bang, bang. Appreciate you. 2-1 pitch and big out there. Down goes J.P. Crawford, 2 away. Appreciate you. Dancing dog in the building. What's good? Let's go, M's. Trident's up, baby. First pitch from Severino to Julio Rodriguez. Takes a strike looking low and away. 0-1 count. Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. And again, how many umps are really good? There's not very many. I understand how hard it is to be a referee in the NHL, the NBA, the NFL, college basketball, college football, and especially the MLB. But again, it's maybe we need to have more of these umps being younger, and maybe they need to be tested with LASIK or glasses because it feels like some of them are too old to ump. And their eyes not be that good at this point. 0-2 pitch and a big strikeout there on Julio Rodriguez. We're not able to get anything going just yet. We're still knotted up at 0 here early. Yeah, I'm not sure if Cal will go yard today. I mean, a lot of times I'll be able to predict, certain, plays that are going to happen, double plays, home runs, and whatnot. But again, the more chances that he has to bat from the left side rather than starting the game on the right side like he did yesterday, definitely works in his favor. Typically, when he goes against a right-handed pitcher, early within the first 5 or 6 innings, you can get the home runs there. And then obviously late in the matchup, it really doesn't matter left or right, pitcher going against him. He can go either way, but we'll see. It also really depends on how they're pitching him. I try to look at every pitch count, every pitch that's thrown to him, as well as every other batter, the speed, the velocity, the location. Are they pitching, down the middle or high and up? Or are they kind of pitching him low and inside or high and away, not wanting to give him the home run swing? right down the middle. So we'll kind of wait and see how it all plays out. But I hope he hits home run number 42. That would be great. But if he doesn't today, I think there will be a good chance, for a home run for him tomorrow. Or maybe even today and tomorrow. I mean, we need to be able to get those home run numbers up. Trident's up. Let's go M's. We're in the bottom of the third inning, 0-0, Mariners and Athletics. Next up, making his debut, shortstop, Darrell Hernandez. Jacob Wilson is on the IL, unfortunately. Was in the running for Rookie of the Year, but has a broken forearm. So he's on the 10-day IL, but that might turn into 15 or even more. They'll have to evaluate after 10 days, but it sounds like he's going to be gone for a little bit like Aaron Judge. But it won't be season ending. So that'll be good. We'll still be able to see Jacob Wilson and Aaron Judge at some point, but we just don't know when. Batting second, center fielder Lawrence Butler. And batting third, first baseman Nick Kurtz. Trident's up. Let's go M's. First pitch from Logan Evans to Darrell Hernandez. High and inside with the sinker, 91 miles an hour, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. Big swing and a miss by Hernandez. 1 ball and 1 strike from Logan Evans. And again, Logan is not very good on the road. All of his wins for the most part have been at home. So hopefully he'll be able to find a way here. 1-1 pitch. And Hernandez grounds out to first. Toe tap on the bag. And that is 1 away. Good defense there by the Mariners. Next up for the Athletics, 0-for-1 with a K, Lawrence Butler. First pitch, low and at the knees. Sweeper missing the strike zone, 1-0 count. I mean, regardless if anyone used to be an ump or currently is an ump, you have to be blind or not in touch with reality to think that umps in baseball are good. I mean, a lot of times we understand how hard the job is, but, I feel like baseball umps are the worst out of any sport. They're worse than NBA refs. They're worse than NFL refs. They're much worse than NHL refs. They are the worst. And that obviously is proven based off the stat sheets every single night. Come on, my guy, wake up. And a nice base knock right up the middle there from Lawrence Butler. Next up is Nick Kurtz. First pitch from Evans to Kurtz. Fouls that one off high and away. 0-1 count. Yeah, it's going to be tough. Again, playing, every single team in the division back to back to back to back. Astros, Angels, Athletics, Rangers. So, we got to try to be able to win 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4, and maybe have a chance to sweep somebody. But again, we haven't really been playing our best baseball as of late. Sweeping any team at this point seems kind of out of the question, but at some point we may be able to do that. And that might be something that helps us leapfrog into obviously a hot streak like we did with the Astros at the beginning of the year, being down 5-0 in the 8th inning and then scoring 7 in the 8th and 9th and winning 7-6. 0-2 pitch, and Kurtz being hit by pitch. Hopefully he's okay. Shakes it off and goes to first. Next up is DH Brent Rooker, 0-for-1. Now they're in the bottom of the third with runners at first and second and 1 out, and this is probably the most that they've been able to threaten Logan here early, but hopefully we'll be able to get a double play and get out of this jam. What do you want me to do? Just start talking about how great the umps are when they're not and just lie? First pitch from Evans to Rooker. Pitch is low and away with a cutter, 1-0 count. Tighten up in the building. What's good? I mean, we call it right down the middle here with no bias. When we're good, we're going to talk about it. But when we're bad, we're going to criticize the Mariners on, whether it be the ownership or the GM or the players. We're not going to give anybody a fucking free pass, when they're playing bad, even if they're a star like Julio or Cal. And we're also going to give love to the other team, which you don't really see by most streamers. It's usually just about their team and fuck everybody else. But we're not about that life. 1-1 pitch. Fouled off right down the middle. 1 ball and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and 1 out. We're knotted up at 0 here early, Mariners and Athletics. But to act like the umping is good in baseball is ridiculous. I mean, again, if you're watching games, and again, there's not going to be very many people that are going to be watching as many games as myself. I mean, there are fanatics that are in the room, of course. We're not, bandwagon fans. We're not occasional watchers. We're not fair weather. I'm watching every game from beginning to end, and not very many people can say that. So, and if you end up watching every game to beginning to end and think that the refs are fantastic, then obviously you must be blind. 1-2 pitch. That one is fouled off, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and 1 out. And occasionally you will get an ump that's good, that will call it, right down the middle for both teams. But, it just seems like we need the ABS and the robots sooner than later, even if it's just like a computer screen that's digitized, behind the plate that will bring up the strike zone and then the baseball. I know you got all these advertisers in the background, like, on the Athletic broadcast, they have obviously the progressive, lined up there. And again, you could replace that with, digital screens. And that way you don't necessarily have to call into New York or wherever. 1-2 pitch, back. See ya. Big 410 home run to left by Brent Rooker. And just like that, 3-0 Athletics. And again, Logan Evans struggles on the road continue. And we've seen Brent Rooker, do things in the home run derby. And again, if you pitch it right down the middle, he will make you fucking pay. And he did right there, 3-0 Athletics. This is going to be hard to come back from. We have to have Logan give up 3 runs or less, and he just gave up 3. So hopefully he doesn't give up any more. And then we have to pray that the bats, light up, and then we can find a way to come back and win, 6-5 or 5-4. But, great homer by Brent Rooker there. Not the greatest look there for Logan Evans. And again, he's 4-3 with a 3.64 ERA. Most of his wins are at home and most of those losses are on the road. Still hasn't been able to figure it out. He's a rookie. He's from the Tacoma Rainiers, so we don't expect a whole lot, but unfortunate that couldn't have been like a solo dinger. Why did it have to be a 3-run jack? And just like that, now Shea Langoliers with a hit, and he's going for 2. Julio with a throw, and safe at second. They're starting to get on a rally here. And when's the best time to get a hit? After a big home run, Shea Langoliers, he read the assignment. Next up is left fielder Tyler Soderstrom. Rooker, the cooker, he cooked us. 1-0 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and no strikes from Evans to Soderstrom. 2-0 pitch, fouls that one down the middle. 2 balls and 1 strike from Soderstrom from Logan Evans. Come on, Logan, settle in. And hopefully he doesn't let that 1 home run, dictate the rest of this, starting position and his vibe and aura. But, anytime you get cracked for a big blast like that, solo dinger, 2-run blast, 3-run jack, or a grand salami, it definitely affects pitchers in different ways. 2-1 pitch, takes the strike looking right down the middle. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Tyler Soderstrom. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. We finally get a punch out there for Logan Evans. 2 away. Nice job, Logan. Next up for the Athletics, 0 for 1 with a K, third baseman Miguel Andujar. First pitch from Evans to Andujar with the sweeper low and away, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking high and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike to Miguel Andujar. 1-1 pitch, fouls that one off high and inside with a sinker by Evans, 91 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at second, Shea Langoliers with 2 outs. 1-2 pitch, fouls that one off right down the middle with a sweeper this time by Evans. 1 ball, 2 strikes, runner at second with 2 outs, 3-0 Athletic lead with a 3-run blast by Brent Rooker just moments ago. And again, when you got a player as good as Brent Rooker, an all-star, at some point or another, he's going to get you. Just like with Julio and Cal, as Athletic fans, they know that Julio and Cal are going to make them pay at some point in the series. It may not be every game, but you can kind of feel it. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's just when. And hopefully they will be able to, counteract this 3-0 lead, because we're going to need some good production, from our power hitters today. Got to get something out of Dom or Naylor, Julio, Cal, Polo, somebody. And Andujar with a double, and that brings him home. Shea Langoliers, fucking A, 4-0 Athletics. And again, starting pitching is so important. Normally we have meltdowns with our bullpen, but lately the starters have been getting fucked up lately. And even if that's Brian Wu, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Luis Castillo, even though he was good yesterday, and then now obviously with Logan Evans. So, out of the 5 starters, Castillo really was the only one lately that hasn't been roughed up, and we may have to pull him. I know it's only the 3rd inning, but this is getting a little out of hand already. And I wish we had better bullpen players where we could just make that snap decision. Okay, yeah, he's done, and then we can bring somebody in. But our bullpen hasn't really been very good either. It's like we got Brash, we got Bizzardo, who's been good. You got Gabe Spire, who's good probably 70% of the time. Munoz is usually electric, but will fuck up once in a while. And then all the rest of the guys are, average or below average and not trustworthy. Whether that be Carlos Vargas or Trent Thornton or Legomina or Snyder, it's like almost a crapshoot with those guys. But obviously they're going to keep them in. First pitch in play, and Cortez flies out to left. We finally get the bleeding to stop, so to speak, but not after the Athletics score 4 in the 3rd inning. Brutal. Luckily, Cortez didn't work the count, because it could have probably been 5-0. Rough outing for Logan Evans. I want to say that I'm surprised, but I'm not. Now we just have to get the bats to come alive on our side. Next up for the Mariners, 1-for-1 with a single early in the matchup. Catcher, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Batting second, first baseman 0-for-1 with a K, Josh Naylor. And batting third, left fielder 0-for-1 with a K, Randy Arozarena. Trident's up. Let's go M's. We got to be able to get at least 1 in the next 2 innings. We have to be able to get 1. Again, obviously trying to get to 4 right away would be great, but we have to be able to take baby steps. Now, if we end up asking for 1 and we get 2 or 3 or 4, that's fine, but sometimes asking for the bare minimum will end up getting us more. And maybe we can get Cal Raleigh to hit home run number 42 at this at-bat. I disagree, Brandon. When we're at home and he pitches, he wins. He just hasn't been able to figure out how to win on the road. I mean, because again, if it was an automatic win for the other team, then his record would be 0-7, not 4-3. So just needs to figure out how to win on the road, and he's a rookie. He hasn't figured it out yet. Hancock is even worse, Pablo. Hancock is much worse than Logan Evans, so that is a no. Nobody wants to see Emerson Hancock. Even Emerson Hancock doesn't want to see Emerson Hancock on the mound. Come on, my guy. We've already seen enough out of Emerson to know that, even if Logan gets fucked up from time to time, overall he's got better stuff. And sometimes it's against the players that we're going against. I mean, look at the guys that are on the Athletics. They may not have a good record, but they have studs. Lawrence Butler, stud. Nick Kurtz, rookie, stud. He went 6 for 6 and had 4 home runs a couple days ago. Maybe the best game in MLB history. Brent Rooker, all-star, stud. Jacob Wilson, he got a broken forearm, but he might have won Rookie of the Year, if that didn't happen, and he still may. So it's not like this team has got a bunch of scrubs. They actually have some of the better players in the AL West on the Athletics. It's just that, starting pitching hasn't been too great. Bullpen has been pretty good as of late. They got a monster closer in Mason Miller. So it's like they have some of the pieces, kind of like the Mariners. Obviously, we have a better record than them, but again, once they fill in the gaps, at some point, I wouldn't be shocked, and down the road, if the Mariners end up getting first place, and hopefully one day the Athletics will get a wild card. It may take a couple years to get there, and also a little luck, and with some injuries by the Astros, Rangers, and Angels. But I don't think it would be that crazy to think that if they keep improving, and then once they actually go into their stadium and once it's built, maybe at that point, they'll be ready. 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to big dumper Cal Raleigh. Yeah, but he's a rookie. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, it's not like we can bring up Durangelo yet or Cade Anderson, so it's like we have guys that are going to be in the starting lineup in the future. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. Down goes big dumper Cal Raleigh, and that is 1 away. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 1 with a K, Josh Naylor. He's been able to get a hit every single game so far. Yesterday had a homer and a single. Let's keep it up, Josh Naylor. Yeah, but we don't got any fucking choice, Brandon. I mean, who are we going to start? Emerson Hancock? I mean, we don't have any other options at this point. Durangelo's not ready. Cade's not ready. We have a lot of holes. Starting pitching needs to be better. And again, we've had injuries to our starting pitching this year for the first time ever, in the last 10 to 15 years. I mean, how many teams could survive if 3 out of their top 5 starters that are good, normally a top 3 pitching staff, all get hurt? Bryce Miller, still on the IL, right? George Kirby missed the first 50-plus games, and then Logan Gilbert missed almost half of the first half of the season. So most teams wouldn't even have a above 500 record right now. So again, hitting has been drastically improved, going from 180 to 220 as a team, hitting-wise to 240, 250. But we didn't expect the starting pitching to be this bad or the bullpen to be this bad. So again, it's kind of hard to be able to be a good team when you can't check off all the boxes yet. 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss, high and away. No balls and 2 strikes here with a 4-0 lead for the Athletics in the top of the 4th. Oh-2 pitch in play. And Naylor flies out to center, 2 away. I mean, Demo shouldn't be on the team. Vargas is garbage too, but again, we can't send Solano down because we need to have depth at first if something happens to Naylor. So, you're not going to send Solano down. Solano was bad at the beginning of the year, but, I mean, again, we got a lot of players that aren't very good. Solano's not good. Garver's garbage. Dylan Moore is garbage. Let's be honest. I mean, Carlos Vargas is garbage. All those guys are more garbage than Logan Evans. And Logan is better than Hancock. But, again, I don't know how many games you watch, compared to the games that we watch here, which is every pitch in every game. 0-1 pitch, and Arozarena singles to right. Finally get something positive here for the Mariners. Nice job, Randy. But again, this team is nowhere near, being complete. And, if you look at the Astros with all the players that are no longer on that team, it's not like they have Bregman on the team anymore or Kyle Tucker, Reds and Cubs. Yordan Alvarez has been hurt almost the whole year with the wrist. Pena had the rib issue. So it's pretty much Jose Altuve and a bunch of this role players, and they're still finding a way to win. So again, it's not going to be easy to be able to compete in the AL West, until we end up getting the right, pieces. And again, also you have to have some good luck with that and not a whole lot of injuries. And also, if we had Victor Robles and he didn't get hurt, we probably would have 5 or 6 more wins than we do right now. So it hasn't really been the cleanest year for us. Injuries have been very detrimental. And also, pitching hasn't been as good as it has been in years past. So, and Arozarena safe at second. Yeah, but so you didn't watch any of the games where he pitched at home, where he was dominant and got wins? I mean, he did end up pitching 8+ innings, and that was one of the best starts out of any Mariner pitcher in 2 years, and then they sent him down, which, regressed his development. They should have never sent him down when he did something good, but that's Seattle. 0-1 pitch, takes a foul ball right down the middle. No balls and 2 strikes with a runner at second and 2 outs. And if you look at every single team that's in the MLB, how many teams actually have 5 good pitchers? Let's be honest. If you actually watch baseball as much as you say, you would understand not very many teams have a good number 5. Hell, a lot of teams don't even have a good number 4. Most teams are only 3 deep, and then they have to just throw in 2 guys in the lineup that are garbage because they have no other choice, unless you have a deep farm system. But most teams don't have what we have, as the number 1 farm team. So even with the farm system being great, we still got to wait usually a few years for guys that we can call up. Durangelo is not ready. Cade, we just drafted him. He's not ready. So, once those guys are ready, Castillo will be off the team. We won't have to worry about Evans or Hancock. They'll be emergency guys. And then we'll have Wu, Gilbert, Kirby, Durangelo, and Cade. But again, that might be a couple years before we get to that point. So for the time being, we're going to have to stick with some guys that are, rookies, from the Tacoma Rainiers. And, again, rookies aren't going to be electric. Sometimes they're going to struggle. 1-2 pitch, in play, and Polo with a single to right. Here we go. I mean, especially, having one of the best pitching staffs for the last couple years, but then the bullpen and and the overall hitting were terrible for us. So obviously we were great with the starting pitching, but then bullpen was trash. And Canzone, there we go, baby. I like that. And Randy comes home. Nice job there by Polo. Beautiful follow-through swing. And that's what I'm talking about, baby. We had to stop the bleeding and get a run, and we did. And again, it's not ideal when Rooker goes for a 3-run blast and then they get another RBI. But Polo, nice job. You were hot at the beginning of the year. Let's see if that can rub off on Dominic Canzone. 4-1 Athletics. 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. High and inside. No balls and 2 strikes to Dominic Canzone. Plus, it really depends on how long you've been a Mariner fan for. I've been watching this team for 40 years. We've only had like 4 or 5 good teams in 40 years. So again, when you go 20 plus years without making the playoffs, you can only have so much expectations. And Canzone on an 0-2 pitch, singles to center. Great job. We're great with 2 outs. Runners at first and second now for a Big Ben. But we had 95 with Griffey against the Yankees in the 95 slide, 97 in the AL MVP year for Griffey, right? 2001, 116 wins with Ichiro in his rookie year. And then 2022 with Cal hitting a home run off the Athletics and making the playoffs for the first time in 20 plus years. So if you're really going back, the last 30, 40 years, we've only had like 4 good teams in like 40 fucking years, right? And then I think this year will be the 5th best team. 95, 97, 2001, 2022. And I think this team is better than the 2022 team, especially if we can get Gino and a couple bullpen, pieces to kind of add a little bit of depth. But again, injuries have hurt us. And it's not like, we're the fucking Dodgers or the Yankees where we fucking make the playoffs every single year or 10 years in a row. This is the beginning of something special from 2022 to 2042. But you got to think, from, previous times, it wasn't really too pretty. So the expectations might be a little too high, just like with the expectations of Julio Rodriguez for most Mariner fans. They're too high. You got to, kind of bring the expectations down a little bit and understand what we have compared to everyone else, in the division, in the American League, and compared to other teams in the National League. That's facts. 1-1 pitch. That one is fouled off, high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and 2 outs. We have to be patient. Again, the organization isn't the smartest either. It's not like they have a great owner and a great GM. It's not like everyone likes Dipoto. Dan Wilson isn't very good either. So it's like he's doing the best that he can as a rookie manager. He might be slightly better than Scott Service, right? But again, there's a lot of guys that I think that, there's not a lot of good managers that are out there. It's not like in the NFL where you can hire your offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator or get a guy from college. It's like, there's 30 teams. How many good managers are there? Like 5? So it's going to be hard to be able to find like the next Lou Piniella, but once we find that might be the point where we take off. 1-2 pitch. Pitch is high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and 2 outs. 4-1 Athletic lead. 2-2 pitch. That one is fouled off right down the middle. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Severino to Big Ben Williamson. And again, I do believe in this team, and again, it's just like we're not healthy. We don't have certain individuals. We've had a lot of positional player injuries, with Bliss and Victor Robles and Luke Rayleigh, and then with the pitching staff, with Bryce Miller, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, and then even some minor injuries with a few other guys, that haven't really been discussed too much by the media, people, fighting through the pain and whatnot. But, if we can make a couple moves at the deadline, we'll see where it goes. 3-2 pitch, high and away, and Big Ben is walked. Let's go. Good eye by Big Ben. Now we got bases loaded, and hopefully we can get an RBI single by Cole Young to make it 4-2 or 4-3. Severino on the mound, Cole Young in the box. All right, come on, Cole. Top of the 4th inning, 4-1 Athletics, and we needed to be able to get that one run, within the first 2 innings after that explosion by Brent Rooker and the A's. And now we've somewhat stopped the bleeding. They're having a mound visit here for Cole Young, on how they want to be able to pitch to him. But the way that Severino has been pitching, if you're just patient and you don't swing, you might be able to just get a freebie, with a walk and that runner from third to come in. But how many players are going to be patient enough to do that? We'll find out. First pitch, high and away, missing the strike zone by 2 feet with the sweeper, 1-0 count, just like I was mentioning. 1-0 pitch, high and away, missing the strike zone again by 2 feet, 4-seam fastball this time around. 2 balls and no strikes from Severino to Young. So if I'm Cole Young here and I'm, listening to the dugout, if you actually had people that had a fucking brain with Edgar and Seitzer and everyone else, just don't fucking swing and you're probably going to get a freebie here. 2-0 pitch. Pitch is low and at the knees. 3 balls and no strikes with bases loaded and 2 outs. Come on, Cole. Let's go. And again, I'll have ESP a few times a game, where I can kind of read the body language of the player and kind of predict what's going to happen. Home runs, double plays, bunt attempts, different things and whatnot. But Severino has been pretty wild, from the very start. And it started with that walk to JP from the first batter. And obviously we weren't able to get a big hit early on to get that RBI where we had a few guys on. JP at first and Cal at second. We couldn't get anything from Naylor and Randy early. But again, once you get guys on early, eventually, good things typically happen. Top of the 4th inning, bases loaded with 2 outs. We got 3 balls, no strikes. And now we have a mound visit by the umps here discussing something about Severino. Yeah, I know a lot of us were wishing that the Athletics would move to Oregon, but, I think obviously if you can have a place like Vegas or somewhere else, at some point, we'll see if that will be an option for us. 3-0 pitch. Takes a strike looking on the line. 3 balls and 1 strike to Cole Young. 3-1 pitch. That one is fouled off for a swing there by Cole Young, and he fouls it off. Count now is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes with bases loaded and 2 outs. And this could be a turning point in the game if Cole can get a walk and we can get a freebie to come in from third, or if he can actually connect on a base hit and get an RBI single or an RBI double. It could end up being 4-2, 4-3, or 4-4 momentarily. And I don't think anyone expects him to hit a home run. I mean, he's not a home run hitter.
It's Halloween.
And down goes Cole Young. Brutal. And again, when you end up having bases loaded, you can only leave that stranded so many times in a game before it comes back to bite you. And there's no guarantee that JP would have been able to get a hit in that situation there. But a very easy out there for the Athletics. Toe tap at first, and they end up leaving the 3 stranded. Brutal. 4 runs, 4 hits, no errors for the Athletics. 1 run, 4 hits, no errors for the Mariners. We've left a few guys stranded, but at least we have 1. But again, another missed opportunity there by the Mariners, and great defense there by the A's, even though that throw was high to Nick Kurtz. Severino gets bailed out again. All right, let's see who's up next here for the Athletics in the bottom of the fourth. Next up for the A's, 0 for 1 with a K, second baseman Luis Urias. Batting second, 0 for 1, shortstop Daryl Hernandez. And batting third, center fielder, 1 for 2 with a run and a K, center fielder Lawrence Butler. All right, Logan, we can't have you give up any more. You know, the 4 is pretty much the max. You want to give up 3 or less, and we'll see if he can end up being clean the rest of the way. But again, Logan struggles on the road. Almost every loss he has been on the road, and every win has been at home. So once he figures out, you know, how to be able to pitch on the road, hopefully we'll be able to get the run support at that time. Gained another sub. Shout out to the new subs on the channel today. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes and 100 on the dono train. And looks like where we at? We're at 68, so we need, 69. We need 31 more to hit the goal. And we have at least 50 in the room that haven't done it yet. So if you are in the room, do your boy a solid and hit that like button for your boy. First pitch from Logan Evans to the former Seattle Mariner, second baseman Luis Urias takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch and grounds out to third. Big Ben is there, throw to first. 1 away. Next up for the Athletics, shortstop Daryl Hernandez. Let's go, Logan. Bottom of the fourth inning, 4-1 Athletics. First pitch from Hernandez and grounds out to third, throw to first, 2 away. Big Ben staying busy. He was the hero yesterday, and it's not over till it's over. You know, we can get a meltdown by one of their pitchers in the pen, unless it ends up being Severino before he exits, and we can get back into this. Next up, 1 for 2 with a run and a K, Lawrence Butler. First pitch from Logan Evans, takes a strike looking, high and inside, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, takes another strike looking, paints the corner beautifully, high and tight inside with that sinker, 93 miles an hour. No balls and 2 strikes from Evans to Butler. Let's go, Logan. Try to have a quick inning here. 0-2 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Evans to Butler. Bottom of the fourth inning, 4-1 Athletics. 1-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss, and a nice punch out there from Logan Evans. Nice job. Down goes Lawrence Butler. Nice job by Logan. End of the fourth inning. I see you, baby.
Go away.
It hasn't been a great day today, but you know, if you can keep it at 4, you know, we'll have a chance with the bats, you would think, at some point, especially if they have a meltdown by one of their pitchers, which definitely could happen. All right, let's try to get on the board. Let's see if we can get 1 here in the top of the 5th inning. You ask a sports gods for a small amount, and you might get a big amount. 0 for 1 with a base on ball, shortstop J.P. Crawford. Drop the bunt down. They would never suspect it. Batting second, 0 for 2 with 2 Ks, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. We could really use a single, double, triple, or home run by Julio Rodriguez. Trident's up. Let's go, J-Rod. And batting third, we're looking for home run number 42. He's 1 for 2 with a K, the best catcher in baseball, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Let's go, baby. We'll take the singles. We'll take the doubles, but we're looking for that home run, number 42. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Yeah, Brandon, but it's still a bad outing. Anytime you're giving up 4, but again, you got to look. As bad as Logan Evans is on the road, look what happened with Brian Wu lately. Look what happened with Logan Gilbert. Look what happened with George Kirby. I mean, George Kirby had a fucking no-hitter, in 5 innings and then gave up, 5 hits in a row, 4 runs, and then we lost. So, even when we start off strong with some of our guys, either they get fatigued, they get tired, they start missing the strike zone, or the other team just finds a sweet spot and they get that Uncle Mo and they get hot. So even though Logan Evans might be our worst player, as far as starters at the moment, even though he's better than Emerson Hancock, Castillo was pretty good yesterday, and he's been hit or miss as well. So even our main guys, like, we don't expect Wu, Kirby, and Gilbert to fuck up ever, based on their reputation and how they've been. But again, 2 out of those 3 guys have been hurt this year. Miller is still on the fucking IL, right? And who knows what he's going to look like when he comes back. When he comes back, will he be better than Logan Evans? He might, but he might be worse. He might not. He might be just a washed year for Bryce Miller, which would be unfortunate. So, we just have to be able to hope that the bats come alive and that we don't have a meltdown like Logan did in the beginning of the game, as far as, the guys in the pen, and we'll see who we bring in. And typically when we're down, they're not going to use Brash or Bizzardo, or Spire. Usually they're going to go with like Vargas or, Legomina or Snyder or Thornton. And when you do that, when you're down, what typically happens? We're down by even more because they suck, right? So we'll see where it goes. 2-1 pitch. That one is fouled off right down the middle. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Severino to JP. Again, if we were actually able to use some of our good guys in the pen when we're down 1 to 3 runs, maybe we could keep it at that, right? And then instead of being down 7-1 in like the 7th inning, maybe it's still 4-1. And then eventually we get the right combination of batters, get a lucky home run, and then all of a sudden we're back in it. But it seems like more times than not, when we're down or when we're tied, usually they don't like using, the good players. They usually only bring them in when we're ahead. And then once in a while when we're tied. But, anytime we're down by 1, 2, 3, 4 runs, it's like you're bringing in shitty players. We're already down. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Like, miraculously, they're going to be amazing? I mean, once in a while, they end up doing okay, but not often. In play, and JP grounds out to second, lines out, and that is 1 away. Good defense there by Hernandez. Next up for the Mariners is Julio Rodriguez. First pitch from Severino to Julio. Big swing and a miss, high and away, 0-1 count. And Julio has been much better in the box within the last month. And again, you look at what he did in March and April, not a whole lot. May was extremely hot. June was fucking terrible. July is not over, but he's starting to, kind of find a little groove. And hopefully August will be good, as well as September. And typically after the All-Star break, if you look at the stats and the analytics, he's a 300 hitter every single year, starting from his rookie year till now. And there we go. 0-1 pitch. Julio connects. Go, go, go. And a nice stand-up double by Julio Rodriguez. Here we go. Nice job, J-Rod. And again, I think expectations overall are just too high for Julio. And now we actually have, someone that is the face of the franchise in Cal Raleigh and doing things that no catcher has ever done, but again, you still need a player like Julio. First pitch to Cal Raleigh, doesn't work the count, and popped up and flied out. I wish Cal would have worked the count there. We can't afford him to just be out on 1 pitch. That's something that we typically would have Julio do early in the year, not so much lately. Nice catch by Urias, the former Mariner. Next up is first baseman Josh Naylor, who had a single and a home run yesterday. We could definitely use another home run or single here. Let's go Naylor. And down goes Naylor. And that is the end of the inning. We're still down 4-1, but again, the game is not over. Once the starters go out, the game resets, and hopefully we'll have a meltdown by 1 or 2 pitchers on the A's. And then again, obviously we don't expect Mason Miller to have a meltdown as their closer because he's amazing. But up to that point, if we can catch up, You know, we're going to need to hit a home run, you know, in the matchup as well. When we don't hit a home run, we lose almost like 99.999% of the time. We're not really built, you know, to win games scoring 1 to 3 runs. And let alone that, we're not really one of those teams that can get, you know, 10, 12 hits and, you know, 5 hits in a row, you know, kind of like other teams have done to us, and finding ways to win without a home run. We're going to need at least one. And if we do get one, we have to hope that it's not just a solo dinger. Hopefully it's a 2-run jack or a 3-run jack like Rooker had, so that way we can get back into the matchup. Obviously, best case scenario would be a grand salami, but those only come, you know, once in a blue moon. So let's go to the bottom of the 5th inning and see who's up next here for the A's. Next up for the A's, 0 for 0 with a run and a base on ball, first baseman Nick Kurtz. Absolute stud. Batting second, 1 for 2 with a 3-run blast, Brent Rooker. Don't even get any fucking ideas, Brent. You already did the damage. And batting third, catcher Shea Langeliers. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Let's take a look at the pitching numbers here since we're about halfway through. Started off with Logan Evans. Obviously has not looked good today, but a lot of our pitchers have looked a little rough lately. 4 innings pitched, 4 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks, 72 pitches, 48 strikes, 3.98 ERA. He had a sub-3 ERA a few games back, but it's been a little rough. And on the flip side, coming into the game with a 4-11 record, 4.95 ERA, 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 6 Ks, 93 pitches, 60 strikes. So Severino's day is almost over. And then we'll see where it goes kind of from there. One pitch from Evans to Kurtz. Low and away with the changeup. 2 balls and 1 strike from Evans to Kurtz. Bottom of the 5th inning, 4-1, Athletic lead. Two-one pitch. Low and away. Count now is 3 balls and 1 strike from Evans to Kurtz. 3-1 pitch. Takes the strike looking high and away. That probably should have been ball 4. But again, this ump is calling strikes, balls, strikes. That last pitch should have been a walk. But again, we don't get the call. And again, Evans, you know, when you don't get the calls, Severino's had some missed calls. So has Evans. But we'll see what happens here. 3-2 pitch, and Evans strikes out swinging. At least we end up getting a little karma, you know, based on the bad call by the ump. And it seems like this ump is making bad calls almost on every batter. Next up is DHing Brent Rooker. 1 for 2 with a run, 3 RBIs, and a 3-run blast to give him this 4-1 lead here in the bottom of the 5th. First pitch from Logan Evans to Brent Rooker, low and away, 1-0 count. And again, another pitch that could have been called strike that's called ball right on the corner. Again, and this is probably the worst officiated game that I've seen besides the Yankee series in the Bronx. I mean, there's been at least 15 missed calls that, you know, for both teams combined. Strikes, balls, strikes. But the ones that hurt the most, where it should be strike 3 and then it turns into a walk, or vice versa. You know, when you end up getting calls that are impactful that lead to a guy going to first, or you have a strikeout and that could be the end of the inning, but then you give him a walk and then the next batter gets a big hit, you know, it really does, you know, switch the momentum. And Uncle Mo in a heartbeat. 1-1 pitch. That one is foul ball and fouled off low and at the knees with the sinker. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. 4-1 Athletic lead. 1-2 pitch, and takes a strike looking high and away, 2 away. Nice job by Logan Evans there with the other punch out. And again, it's like you don't really know what you're going to be getting with this ump. And it's not necessarily the calls that are right on the line. You know, it's like the stuff that's in the box. He's been calling ball. And again, if it's on the line, or on the corner, that could go either way. And, no one's really going to be bitching and complaining too much about those. But when you get stuff that's outside the box and you're calling it strike, or in the box and you're calling it ball, that's where we have a problem. First pitch from Evans to Shea Langoliers, high and inside, 1-0 count. I agree. And again, I know it's hard to be an ump, but 1-0 pitch, back, see ya. Shea Langoliers making Logan Evans pay, and he still hasn't been able to find a way to win on the road. Now it's 5-1 Athletics. Way to bring the electricity, Shea Langoliers. We need to get Logan Evans out. But again, our bullpen stinks. So again, it's like if we bring somebody in, the same type of shit's going to happen. And that's the problem. We need the bats to be able to come alive early and often within the first 6 innings. Because when shit like this happens, we're not going to be bringing in Brash or Bizzardo. And even Brash and Munoz lately have been a little shaky. Same thing with Spire. So, like the best case scenario would, to bring in Bizzardo. But do you really want to bring in Bizzardo when you're down 4 runs? You're going to probably save him for tomorrow. So that way we can get the series win. So, we just need a few more Bizzardos, a few more Brashes, another Munoz, another Spire, and get rid of all these other shitty guys in the pen. But every team has got a shitty pen overall. Brutal. Next up is Miguel Andujar. First pitch is fouled off, high and inside, 0-1 count. But at least on the bright side, compared to the Mariners in 2022, 2023, and 2024, in those years when we were down 5-1, the game is over because we can't hit, right? We were batting 180 to 220 as a team, usually like one good player out of 9, and that wasn't cutting it, right? Pitching was amazing, starting pitching, but again, we couldn't hit. But now starting pitching is not very good, but we can hit. So there's always a chance, if they can have one fucking guy that has a meltdown, we can get 1 to 4 runs in a single inning. But again, we have to be able to kind of chip away before that bad pitcher comes in for the Athletics. So hopefully we can get at least 1 run, per inning to kind of slowly but surely catch up. But Evans is getting rocked here on the road. And again, this is nothing new. He's, lost every start on the road, so again, he's got wins at home, but he can't win on the road yet. And, obviously the offense isn't really helping him out either today. And Andujar with a big hit, and that's an RBI double. Got to pull him, man. Now it's 6-1 Athletics. Boo! Nice job by Miguel Andujar, but essentially he's knocking around our 5th guy in the rotation who's a rookie this year. So again, expectations a little too high, for people. Emerson Hancock, and Logan Evans. But again, the nice thing is we develop pitchers better than anybody. And once we do have the time to have Durangelo and Cade, to pair up with Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, and Brian Wu, that's when we are going to be at our very best. And instead of signing guys in the offseason, as Logan Evans' day is done, terrible outing for him. But once, and they're bringing in Carlos Vargas. So now he's our worst player on the team, not named Dylan Moore. So now we're down 6-1. It might be 12-1 in a matter of 5 minutes. So we'll see how this goes. I mean, obviously Vargas only needs 1 out this inning, but if they bring him out in the fucking 6th, we know that most of the time Vargas stinks, and again, he's blown a lot of games for us. We've had a 3-1 lead late and him giving up 3 runs and us losing 4-3. That's happened a few times. So hold your breath here. We'll see how this happens. But again, hopefully the offense will slowly but surely get a few hits and we can get a home run to kind of get back into it, but again, it's not looking too good at this point. Yeah, 4-11 record. So, I mean, as bad as Logan Evans has been, it's not like he's this bad. 4.95 ERA. Logan is 4-3, which is going to probably turn into, well, he only went 5 innings, so I don't know if this will, count as the L for him. And 3.64 ERA. But at one point, he did have a sub 3 ERA. But again, he can pitch great at home. But, again, on the road, for whatever reason, he just can't pitch well. And he typically doesn't get run support, which on the road. At home, he usually does in half of the, games that he's won. And the other half, he had to kind of do it on his own. But yeah, but also too, Frank, you have to realize that, we don't really have, a good bullpen. It's like Brash has been shaky and he's our one. Bizzardo is probably our best right now. Spire has been shaky. Munoz has been shaky. And then you got, Vargas and Thornton and, Snyder and Legumina. Like, you can pull a guy in the 3rd inning, but let's be real. If you bring in a guy like Vargas or one of those other guys when, even if you're only down like 3-1 or 4-1, do we honestly think bringing those guys in, you're going to get a better result? You're going to get a similar result than what you were getting out of Logan, and even our great players, have been getting kind of, pushed around. Like we've seen Brash be a little shaky. Munoz, has blown some saves, right? Spire, sometimes is good, sometimes is terrible. Really Bizzardo is the only guy that I think that we can trust, game in and game out up to this point. 3-0 pitch. Takes a strike looking on the line to Cortez. 3 balls and 1 strike from Vargas to Cortez. Three-one pitch, and that is a walk. But you have to understand, too, most teams, in the league don't have a great starting 5. Most teams don't have a good bullpen. We're lucky that we at least have 3 or 4 guys out of like 10 that are good, but there's some teams out there that don't have anything, and again, it's like you could have amazing starters, but if your bullpen is going to give up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 runs after the starter goes out for those last 3 innings, you're fucked. You could have a 4-0 lead and have that erased within 1 inning by a bad pitcher in the pen. So now we got runners at first and second with 2 outs, 6-1 Athletic lead. First pitch from Vargas to Urias. Takes a strike looking in the zone, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, and Urias grounds out to second, and we finally stop the bleeding, but not after. The Athletics have a 6-1 lead. All right, Mariner bats, you got to be able to come alive, my guy. All right, Alvarado is coming in, so maybe he'll have a meltdown. And plus, Severino got extremely lucky. We had bases loaded, runners at first and second, in the first inning, and we weren't able to score. So if we were able to get a little bit early on, maybe the score is like 6-3 right now, and we would have a better shot. But again, not a good outing by Logan. The bats have not been good. And again, we'll see what we end up getting, with the bullpen the rest of the way. But instead of spending money, on guys like Polo and Garb and Miles Mastrobuoni and Donovan Solano, why aren't we actually grabbing starting pitchers instead and moving them into the pen, or grabbing other guys from the pen from other teams and, bolstering that unit? Like, you never see teams, really bolster the bullpen. And, once we actually get a team that understands that that's important, rather than getting these players, in the off season, if we want positional players, we can get them from the farm. We don't need to overpay guys like Polo and Garb and Mastrobuoni and Solano. If we use that money, to grab pitchers, we probably would be in a better position than we are now, excluding maybe Polo. Polo might be the only guy that's actually worth keeping on the team. I actually do like Miles Mastrobuoni, but he got sent down, obviously, for Naylor. He was probably our best bench guy, but Solano overall is mostly garbage. Garb is mostly garbage. Mastrobuoni did, pretty good for the time that he got to play, but not good enough to really be an everyday starter, but again, we'll figure it out at some point, one way or another. Top of the 6th inning, 6-1 A's. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 2 with a run and a K, left fielder Randy Arozarena. Batting second, DHing Jorge Polanco. And batting third, right fielder Dominic Canzone. And we need to try to get at least one to cut into this lead, but preferably getting 2 runs between this inning and next inning to get it to 6-3. So that way that we're only down 3 for the last 2 innings. And we're going to need at least 1 or 2 home runs. And obviously when you're down 5, there's like a 95% chance that the game is already over, but you never know. Meltdowns do happen often, and we just got to hope that the A's have 1 or 2 pitchers that have a meltdown. We get a couple home runs, and then we're right back in it. First pitch, fouled off, high and away to Randy Arozarena from Alvarado, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, fouled off right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike from Randy Arozarena. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. 6-1 athletic lead. But we've had quite a few comebacks this year as well. Even when things look, dark and they look, like it's over. Like when we played the Astros at the beginning of the year when we were down 5-0 and we were absolutely getting manhandled. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. Down goes Randy Arozarena, 1 away. Being down 5-0 and, in the 8th inning and then scoring 7 runs combined in the 8th and the 9th and then winning 7-6 and 10, it's not going to happen often. But again, it has happened for us a few times this year. So again, we just need to be able to get that first home run and then we'll be in business. And hopefully when we do get that first home run, it will end up being a 2-run blast or higher. 2-run blast, 3-run blast, grand salami, and then, a solo dinger helps, but again, at this point, we're going to need something to match Rooker's 3-run blast. First pitch from Alvarado to Polo, low and at the knees, 1-0 count. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes and 100 on the dono train. Looks like we're at 80. We need 20 more to go to hit the goal. Now we're at 81. Appreciate you. 2-0 pitch, high and away. 3 balls and no strikes from Alvarado to Polo. Oh yeah, Mason Miller is incredible. We already know that. But just as good as Mason Miller is, like Andres Munoz, there has been, certain situations where they, blow a save. So, but would that happen with the A's 6-1 lead? Probably not, right? So we need to cut into this lead the best way that we can. 3-0 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle. 3 balls and 1 strike to Jorge Polanco. 3-1 pitch, takes another strike, low but in the zone. Count now is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Jorge Polanco. And again, it's like we need hits, 3 in a row. We need a home run, solo dinger or better. And then also we're going to need a couple walks or a couple guys get plunked. We need to get a couple stolen bags. Like we need to be able to manufacture, some guys on the bases. And also we haven't been bunting, and again, bunting always works, if you can position it the right way. 80% of the time you're going to get a hit off of it if you, position your hands the right way. And there we go. We got to walk. And hopefully we can get a few more and we can have a meltdown here by Alvarado. All right, next up is Dominic Canzone. I can't think of a better time for Dom to go for a Dom bomb right here to make it 6-3. Let's go, Dom. And no matter how bad it looks, all it takes is 1 swing and you're back in it. First pitch from Alvarado to Dominic Canzone. High and away, 1-0 count. Come on, baby. Got to keep grinding. I feel a meltdown coming. 1-0 pitch. Pitch is inside. 2 balls and no strikes from Alvarado to Canzone. Give me walks. Give me plunks. Stolen bags. Bunts. Sometimes you got to play small ball. 2-0 pitch. High and away. 3 balls and no strikes to Dominic Canzone. Don't let him get it back to 3-2 when it's 3-0. Come on, Dom. We already have 1 walk, and we're approaching walk number 2 here. And there we go. 4-pitch walk. Back-to-back walks. You talk it into existence. And again, when you watch a team as often as I do, you can kind of have an idea of what could happen. Even when everyone else may give up, on the Mariners, I'm going to keep an open mind on how things could go. But I will also be realistic on how things could end up as well. Here we go. Back-to-back walks there from Alvarado. Now we need some big plays here. Let's go, Big Ben. On deck is Cole Young. Let's go. We need our young guns from AAA to step up here. And obviously Alvarado is, not, sharp here early, which is good. Severino is out, and hopefully we get another guy just as bad as Alvarado or even worse. Now we have a mound visit by their pitching coach. Let's go, baby. Good old Rhino. I got a lot of memories from Ryan Sandberg, Mark Grace, Andre Dawson, Jerome Walton, Damon Berryhill, all the OGs, Sean Dunston. Prostate cancer. It's brutal. Rest in peace in baseball heaven, Ryan Sandberg. All right, we're at the top of the sixth. We're getting our ass kicked here, but there's still a little bit of life. We have runners at first and second with back-to-back walks from Alvarado, who is replacing Severino, who actually got bailed out a few times. And hopefully we'll be able to get a few runs this inning. Slow dribbler and double play, and they don't get it. All right, 2 away. Now we got runners at first and third, and hopefully Cole Young, he ended up hitting into an out when we had bases loaded. We can't have you do it again, Cole. We need an RBI single at the very least to make it 6-2. Come on. Go, baby. Got to believe. Come on, Cole. I know you're a rookie, and I know you've had some struggles in the box like Big Ben Williamson, but find a way, brother. 0-1 pitch, fouls off. Low and away with a four-seam fastball, 97 miles an hour. No balls and 2 strikes with runners at first and third with 2 outs. And we're only a couple hits away from getting it to be 6-2 or 6-3. We just need to start a rally, and we're very good with 2 outs this year. And we're very good in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. We're one of the best teams in baseball late. Just got to be able to capitalize here. We've already had 2 innings where we left guys stranded. And now let's make it 3. Cole Young flies out to right, and another missed opportunity by the Mariners. Come on, Cole. We need you. That's twice now, leaving guys on. I mean, if you would have been able to get a hit, maybe we are at 6-2 or 6-3 at this point. Maybe even 6-4. Man. But he's a rookie. So, again, anytime you end up having a rookie, whether it be Logan Evans or Cole Young or Ben Williamson, or a guy like Dominic Canzone that started off the year in AAA, again, even though he did play on the team last year a little bit, Dominic Canzone, sometimes you can't expect, the same type of things, out of like Julio or Cal or Randy. It is what it is. There's going to be games where they step up, and there's going to be games where they fuck up. And we just have to hope that they can make up for it, like Ben did yesterday with his defense and his hitting. We had bases loaded with 1 out, and he hit into a double play in the first inning, and he made up for it. But so far, Cole Young, not good here today, but hopefully one last at-bat, maybe he can end up, having a little bit of redemption. Let's go to the bottom of the 6th inning and see who's up next for the A's. Next up for the Athletics in the 9-hole, 0 for 2. Shortstop, Darryl Hernandez. Batting second, 1 for 3 with a run and 2 Ks. Center fielder, Lawrence Butler, absolute stud. And batting third, sensational rookie, 0 for 1 with a run, base on ball, and a K. Went 6 for 6 with 4 home runs a few days ago. Nick Kurtz. Right hands up. Let's go, M. Somebody step up, please. Yeah, but even though Cole hasn't been able to get the big hit today,
Young has won us a few games this year with big RBI singles. So it's not like Cole and Ben are terrible. Again, they could be better. They're not home run hitters. They're only singles hitters. And I would rather have them in the lineup than have, guys that we had at the beginning of the year. You have to have the right blend of young and old veterans, and whatnot. It's a lot better than having Dylan Moore or Donovan Solano in the fucking lineup. You got to take the ups with the downs. 2-0 pitch, takes a strike looking in the zone. 2 balls and 1 strike from Vargas to Hernandez. And again, they have Vargas out there again, who's our worst pitcher. So anytime you're playing your worst, batter, Dylan Moore yesterday, or your worst guy in the pen, Vargas, you got to hold your breath and just hope that he actually does decent. Come on, baby. Got to be able to get a home run, too. We don't win games when we don't hit home runs. You got to have a minimum of 1, but most of the time when we win, it's 2 or more. 2-1 pitch, in play, and Hernandez singles to left. Nice hit there by Darryl. Next up is Lawrence Butler. First pitch from Vargas to Butler, takes a strike swinging, 0-1 count. And we need a punch out or a double play and a punch out. Slow dribbler right up the middle of the JP, or to Cole Young, a throw to Naylor, and to get us out of this inning. 0-1 pitch, low and at the knees. Cutter missing by a few inches, even though it was right there on the line. 1 ball and 1 strike from Vargas to Butler. 6-1 athletic lead. Yeah, they got a lot of dangerous players. I mean, it's kind of crazy that their record is so bad. Starting pitching needs to be better. They got a great closer in Miller. Butler is awesome. Kurtz is awesome. Rooker, all-star, awesome. Jacob Wilson, injured right now with a broken forearm. Could have won AL Rookie of the Year and still may. Awesome. So it's not like this team doesn't have good players, and they have some decent role players as well, like Soderstrom, who ended up leading the league in homers at the beginning of the year early before other individuals caught up to him. And Butler with a sack bunt. See, they're doing all the things that they need to do to win. I wish the Mariners would do some sack bunts, If the Mariners bunted, 1 to 3 times a game, we would be much better than what we are now. Nice job by Butler. Respect. Next up is first baseman Nick Kurtz. And Kurtz will have to step up for the absence of Jacob Wilson for the next few weeks for the broken forearm. And again, I think that, if they could just get a better manager, a revamped pitching staff, and a few other role players, in a couple of years, maybe the Mariners win the division and the A's get wild card. I would love that. I would love the A's to, be better than the Angels, the Astros, or, the Rangers at some point. And there we go, 2 away. Little slow dribbler there by Kurtz. Next up is Brent Rooker, so far the hero in this game with a 3-run homer. First pitch from Vargas to Rooker, cutter, low and away, missing the strike zone by a couple feet, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, right down the middle, fouled off, 1 ball and 1 strike to Brent Rooker. And baseball is hard, it's the hardest sport to play. And again, catcher is probably the hardest position overall, but, you could even be a superstar and, go 0 for 4, 0 for 5 like Judge or Ohtani. Obviously, Judge injured right now, but, shit happens. You just never know who's going lights out, on the mound or if you're just off. And it's not like Ichiros grow on trees, 1-2 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Brent Rooker. There's only going to be certain players that are going to be generational, like Rod Carew, right? Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle, Tony Gwynn, Ichiro. Guys like that are super rare. 1-2 pitch, and Rooker flies out to right for out number 3. So at least Vargas, even though he's the worst guy as far as our bullpen is concerned, was clean for the most part. And again, we're down 5. Now we need to be able to get a run or 2 to kind of at least feel like we're back in it somewhat. 0 for 2 with a base on ball, JP Crawford. Come on, JP. After his 15-16 game hit streak ended, he has been ice cold. Batting second, 1 for 3 with 2 Ks. We need a home run, Julio Rodriguez. And batting third, we need a home run from you as well, 1 for 3 with a K. Big dumper, Cal Raleigh. I mean, even if we got a solo dinger by Julio and a solo dinger by Cal to make it 6-3, that could give us a little momentum. So. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Shout out to all the new subs that we've acquired here today, which is normally around 5 to 15, per stream. Appreciate you guys very much. Shout out to all the people that have donated up to this point as well to help us hit our goal. And we're under 20 likes to be able to hit the goal of 100. Let's go, baby. See how close we are now. 16 away. We're at 84, 16 more to go. Now we're at 85. Thank you so much. 15 to go to hit the goal before the stream ends. And we got 3 innings to do it. Should be able to do that. Cal Ripken. Yeah, Cal was amazing. No one's ever going to be able to touch the Ironman record for consecutive games. The guy played hurt, didn't matter. I respect that too. You don't get that nowadays. But baseball players are tougher than basketball players. A basketball player can get a hangnail and miss like a week. Baseball players may not be as tough as like hockey players or some football players, but there is some toughness there. All right, Newcomb is into the game now. Sean Newcomb and JP Crawford in the box. First pitch to JP Crawford, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. Oh, 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to JP Crawford. 1-1 pitch, fouls it off right down the middle. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Newcomb to JP. One-two pitch, fouled off, low and away. Four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour by Sean Newcomb. Pitch fouled off. 1 ball and 2 strikes to JP Crawford. Let's go, baby. One-two pitch, fouled off, low and away. 4 consecutive foul balls there for JP Crawford from Sean Newcomb. Newcomb on the mound. JP Crawford in the box. Come on, baby. One-two pitch, and takes a strike looking right down the middle, and that is 1 away. I can't wait for the time where we get Victor Robles back. Victor is a much better leadoff hitter. JP, is good in spurts, but Victor Robles helps us win so many more games. Can't wait to get him back. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. First pitch from Newcomb to Julio. Low and at the knees with the slurve ball, slider curve, which has been a little bit more popular in MLB the last 2 years. 1-0 pitch. And in play, and Julio keeps hot. Nice single to center. Now we just need some other individuals to step up. Nice job by Julio Rodriguez. Now we need Cal Raleigh to hit home run number 42 and make it 6-3, and then we're back in this game. Trident's up. Let's go fucking Cal. Bring that electricity. Let's go, big dumper. Come along, Cal. First pitch is fouled off from Sean Newcomb. 0-1 count. Home run number 42. Let's go. Oh, 1 pitch, low and away. Changeup missing the zone by inches. 1 ball and 1 strike. The big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Top of the 7th inning, 6-1 A's. Come on, Mariners. All it takes is a couple big swings and we can be right back in it. 1-1 pitch, fouled off, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The big dumper, Cal Raleigh. One-two pitch, fouled off again. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Come on, Cal. Newcomb on the mound. Big dumper in the box. 1-2 pitch, fouled off again. 3 consecutive foul balls in a row. Trying to ice Cal Raleigh. He's batting from the right side here against Newcomb, who's a lefty. Come on, baby. Top of the 7th inning with a runner at first with 1 out. We're down by 5. Come on, baby. 1-2 pitch. Fouled off, high and inside. 4 consecutive foul balls in a row. He's had how many in this at-bat? 5? 5 foul balls. Come on, baby. Come on, big dumper. I mean, even if we get it to 6-3, realistically, we'll probably still lose, but at least it'll give him some stats, to add on to his historic season. 1-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Down goes big dumper. 2 away. It's not our night tonight. I still love you, Cal. Next up is first baseman Josh Naylor, and he's gotten a hit in every single game up to this point in the first 3. Yesterday was his first 2-hit game with a home run and a single, but today he's 0 for 3 with a K, and this might be his last at-bat unless he gets one in the 9th. So probably we'll get another chance in the 9th inning maybe, but depending on if we can get cooking here at some point. But we need Josh to get a hit here. Come on, Naylor. Bring that electricity, baby. Big swing and a miss. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Takes a strike looking on the line. No balls and 2 strikes from Newcomb to Naylor. 0-2 pitch, low and away, missing the strike zone by a few feet. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Newcomb to Naylor. Come on, Naylor. Newcomb on the mound. Josh Naylor in the box. One-two pitch, big swing and a miss, and down go the Mariners. And again, the Athletics, they started off the year really hot, and then they ended up losing almost like 20 games in a row after that, and they fell to last place. But if you look at their team and their players, they're kind of like the Mariners, where you can see like they have good players, but they just don't have enough of them. And then eventually, if they can get a better manager like us, get a better starting pitching staff, fill in the gaps, with some of the other players that are role players and improve those guys. Obviously, they got Mason Miller as a closer who's awesome. And the bullpen was really shaky at the beginning of the year, but in the last month, they've been lights out. And again, they've started to make up a little bit of ground from the hole that they dug themselves in after starting off really strong and then almost losing like 20 games in a row. That definitely hurt their chances of, competing in the division. But again, today they look pretty fucking good against the Seattle Mariners. Getting a little bit of payback from last night. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 7th inning and see who's up next year for the Athletics. Next up for the A's, 2 for 3 with 2 runs and an RBI, catcher Shea Langoliers. Batting second, left fielder in the 5-hole, Tyler Soderstrom. And batting third baseman Miguel Andujar. Bottom of the 7th inning, 6-1, Athletics. And they're bringing in Jackson Kowar. And again, it's, I don't expect any of like the good players to come out, but you just have to hope that, they don't end up having a fucking meltdown. I mean, coming back from 5 runs is almost impossible as it is, and then having to bring in another guy that might fuck it up even more. So we'll see. All right, Jackson Kowar entering the matchup for Carlos Vargas. Vargas is our worst player in the pen, but he actually did pretty good for those 2 innings that he was in. The last inning in the 5th and all of the 6th, but we'll see what we get here out of Jackson Kowar. First pitch to Shea Langoliers in play, and grounds out to the shortstop, JP. Throw to first, 1 away. There we go. Good start there for Jackson. Next up is left fielder Tyler Soderstrom. First pitch to Soderstrom and flies out to left. And I like these quick outs here for the Mariners late. We'll take that all day. Down goes Tyler. 2 away. Next up is Miguel Andujar. Maybe we can get him to fly out on the first pitch here, and then we can go to the top of the 8th. And we have to try to get 2 runs in the 8th and 3 in the 9th. That's asking a hell of a lot. Depending on the batting order, let me see where they're at. They're on Miguel, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you should be able to see him bat one more time. In the bottom of the 8th or the bottom of the 9th for Kurtz. Yeah, but it happens, Again, sometimes we're going to be good on the road. Sometimes, we're not. You got to think when we won 9 consecutive series in a row, we averaged 6 runs a game for a month and a half. And then we averaged 1 to 3 runs for a month and a half after. So, you're not going to be hot for the whole year. And there is out number 3. Good job by Jackson Kowar by not giving up anything there. Go to the top of the 8th inning, and we need 5. Brutal. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 3 with a run and 2 Ks, Randy Arozarena. Batting second, 1 for 2 with an RBI and a base on ball, Jorge Polanco. And batting third, 1 for 2 with a base on ball and a K, Dominic Canzone. But again, it shows you, when you end up having these games where we only score 1 to 3 runs and we don't hit a homer, we lose usually like 99% of the time. We have to hit at least 1, but normally 2 or more. And if we don't hit the home runs, we lose. Even if pitching is great, it's like you got to be able to hit at least 1 or 2 home runs, even if that's just solo jacks, to be able to, get the momentum going for those back-to-back-to-back hits that can turn into an RBI. But if all you're getting is missed opportunities where you're leaving guys stranded over and over and over, or hitting into double plays over and over and over, eventually that wears on a team, especially when the pitching isn't good today. So if pitching isn't good, hitting isn't good, morale isn't good. But again, you've got to see who's still trying late when we're down. And then, obviously it creates, moments for the team where you can see who handles adversity better than others. And again, you can see who actually is still trying effort-wise, and we'll see where it goes. All right, we need home runs. Randy, is it going to be your turn? I would love a home run by you and a home run by Polo, home run by Dom. I mean, for you guys, you got the ability, but also we need a meltdown. And we got Brian Wu on the bump tomorrow. So, as long as Wu plays well, right, we should be able to win the series tomorrow. First pitch from Kelly to Arozarena. Takes a strike looking. Low and away, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Takes a strike looking right down the middle. No balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. Yeah, but Julio's been much better than he was at the beginning of the year. And he ended up hitting, 4 home runs in 5 games, or 4 home runs in 4 games. He had 1 in game 1, 2 in game 2, 1 in game 3, and none in game 4 against the Angels. So, at least that Julio's playing well. And, baseball's a long season. It's 162 games. It's much longer than any other season. Basketball is 82. Obviously, if you have football, including playoffs, you're sitting around maybe 20. And then if you're doing college football, it's even less than that. So it's not easy being a baseball player. 1-2 pitch, in play, and Arozarena lines out to second, 1 away. But hopefully Julio or Cal or Randy or someone will step up before this game is over. Is there anything that we can get offensively that'll carry over till tomorrow, even if we lose? So if we can get to like 4 before the game ends, which would be a big ask, that could give us the momentum going into tomorrow. First pitch to Polo, and he grounds out to first on the first pitch. Work the count, my guy. 2 away. Next up is right fielder Dominic Canzone. And sometimes, you're just going to have an off game, where it's just off by everyone. Manager's off, starting pitcher is off, bullpen is off, hitters are not able to get home runs. And, if you can't get 3 hits in a row, it's hard to be able to manufacture things. And even when you get 3 hits in a row, sometimes that still doesn't lead to a run scored. 3 singles and you got bases loaded, and then you hit into a double play, or you unfortunately get 3 guys after that strike out or pop up or ground out. It's baseball. Shit happens. First pitch from Kelly to Canzone, fouls it off. Low and in the zone, 0-1 count. But again, if you actually want, to be able to try to come back, you would hope that these guys would work the count. And then the guys that are swinging at the first pitch almost tells me they're already thinking about tomorrow or tonight. Where can I go get a drink? What am I going to eat for food? Who am I going to meet up with after the game? You can definitely tell, who's still focused on, trying to do good for their personal stats and the team. And then other guys that are just going through the motions. 0-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and that is out number 3. Based on how we're playing right now, realistically, we're probably going to end at 1. It doesn't look like we're going to score anymore unless someone can get an unexpected home run. But, based on the body language and the vibe of the players, it's almost like they've already waved the white flag, a few innings ago. Let them know, brother. And I know you're in and out and whatnot, but let's see if we can get these last 11 likes before the stream ends. If we're not going to be able to hit 125 or 150, we got to hit 100. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 8th and see who's up next here for the A's. Next up, 0 for 2 with a base on ball, right fielder Carlos Cortez. Batting second, 0 for 3 with a K, the former Seattle Mariners second baseman, Luis Urias. And batting third, 1 for 3, shortstop, Daryl Hernandez. Trident's up, let's go M's. I feel tomorrow will be much better. And again, we're a good afternoon team and a good morning team in 2025, so... Or at least I thought the game. Let me see. Let me double check if it is early or late. Or tomorrow will be a late game. I thought it was going to be like a 1 o'clock game, but it'll be at same time, 7 o'clock, MLB Network. Tomorrow evening, Brian Wu versus Springs. Should be a good one. And hopefully we can win that and win the series. First pitch from Coar to Cortez, fouls it off. 0-1 count. Yeah, I mean, most of the time, they keep fighting all the way to the end, but again, there are also going to be games, depending on who they bring in from the pen. And you can also just tell with body language, if they have players that are still focused on the rally or if others have kind of just, given up until tomorrow. So, it's not easy to be able to hit a baseball and let alone, get base hits and home runs on a regular basis. 1-1 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from Kowar to Cortez. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. Help us get those last 11 likes before the stream ends. And again, we're still a little bit behind schedule on the dono train. We gained a couple new subs today as well. Appreciate all the new subs on the channel very, very much. 2-1 pitch. Takes a strike looking low and in the zone. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Kowar to Cortez. Well, if they end up getting a few guys on, they're, like I said, you're only, 5 batters away, 4 more after Cortez. So if they get a couple hits, Kurtz could, end up coming up to at bat here in the bottom of the 8th. Obviously, he won't get a chance to go in the bottom of the 9th because you're already ahead. The game will be over. 2-2 pitch, and Cortez strikes out swinging. 1 away. So for you to get Kurtz, you need a couple guys to get hits here. Next up is Luis Urias. Gained another sub, 75 to go to 21,300. Shout out to all the new subs on the channel. Appreciate you. First pitch to Urias from Jackson Kowar. Low and away, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, high and inside. 2 balls and no strikes with nobody on and 1 out. We're in the bottom of the 8th, down by 5. And again, when things are bleak, when you have Carlos Vargas pitch 2 innings and Jackson Kowar pitch 2 innings. But again, we're not going to waste any of our good pitchers when we're down by 5, especially when we can still win the series tomorrow. And I like our chances with Brian Wu on the mound. All day, I believe it, man. I mean, I think once you get above 35 or 40 years old, your metabolism and the way you feel is definitely a little bit different. 2-0 pitch and grounds out to the shortstop for out number 2. All right, potentially the last batter here for the Mariners for Jackson Kowar, Daryl Hernandez. All right, Jackson. And again, the bullpen, actually was pretty good, right? Vargas did good. Kowar did good, but now it's like, we just wish that Logan didn't give up so many fucking runs. But even if he would have only given up, 2, we're still down 2-1 and could still lose 2-1. So it's not just all on Logan Evans. The blame also has to go to the players, for not hitting any home runs yet and not being able to drive those guys in. It's not like we had a bunch of double plays, but we did have bases loaded, stranded, and runners at first and second in the first inning that we left stranded. But we've seen games where we've left more stranded, but definitely, not the best game or the best results by the Mariners today. But at least we won yesterday, so it's not like we're going to get swept. 1-0 pitch. Takes a strike looking low and in the zone. 1 ball and 1 strike from Kowar to Hernandez. 1-1 pitch. In play. Lines out to second. Throw to first. And that is out number 3. All right, we're going to need like a comeback miracle of the fucking season here, just like when we were down 5 to the Houston Astros in the 8th inning at the beginning of the season and scored 7 in the last 2 innings. But here we have to score 5 just to get it to go to extras, which is the chance of this happening is, probably less than 1%, but you never know. If they have an epic meltdown, but again, I would assume Mason Miller is going to come in and, with a guy like Miller, he pitches like 100 to 103 on the regular. So this could be a, strikeout. And again, we don't have the best guys. So I assume that we're going to lose 6-1. I don't think we're going to get any more. I hope I'm wrong, but, based off Ben Williamson, Cole Young, and JP Crawford, all 0 for 2, 0 for 3, 0 for 3, not ideal. Now, if we would have had Julio, Cal, and Naylor, that would probably give us a better chance to score at least like 1. But, again, a lot of the players, it feels like they've checked out already. So End of the 8th inning. We're going to the top of the 9th. 6-1 A's. And tomorrow we got Brian Wu on the mound tomorrow against Spring. So should be a great pitching matchup. And hopefully we can find a way to win the series. And then we got a 4-game set against the Rangers. And hopefully we'll be able to clean up on them as well. And then I'll have to decide if I want to do SummerSlam Day 1 and Day 2 on Saturday and Sunday, or the Mariners. I'll have to talk to a few of the wrestling individuals that come to the streams once a month to see if they're going to be able to be available. And then I'll be able to determine if we do Mariners and Rangers, or if I do SummerSlam night 1 and night 2. All right, here we go. Top of the 9th. Down by 5. Next up is Ben Williamson. Yeah, Mariners just don't bunt, but really teams don't really bunt at all. First pitch, low and away, 1-0 count. Kelly on the mound, Williamson in the box. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike with nobody on and no out, 6-1 athletic lead. How's your knee feeling, Megan? Still swollen? Hopefully you're feeling a little bit better. I imagine it still hurts. 1-1 pitch, sweeper, low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike with nobody on and no outs. Kelly on the mound, Williamson in the box. So they're not even using Miller, again, because if Miller was in, it would be probably bang, 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 1, 2, 3, game over. But, we'll see how this goes. 2-1 pitch, low and away. Count now is 3 balls and 1 strike from Kelly to Williamson. Let's go, Big Ben. Find a way to take the walk or get a single. Come on, Ben. And even if we only get to like 2 or 3, that'll give us some momentum going into tomorrow. But realistically, we'll probably lose 6-1. But we'll see what kind of effort we get out of these, last 3 players here. 3-1 pitch. And flied out to left. Almost homered. Wow. Big Ben crushed the hell out of that ball, but just couldn't get it to leave the park. 1 away. Next up, 0 for 3, Cole Young. Yeah, 25 and tired. It happens. It also depends on your diet and how much exercise you're getting too. So first pitch right down the middle to Cole Young, fouls it off, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, takes a strike looking high and away, paints that corner beautifully by Kelly. No balls and 2 strikes to Cole Young. Top of the 9th, 6-1 A's. 0-2 pitch. Fouled off, low and away. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. 6-1 athletic lead. But again, in life, if you end up, kind of changing your diet, exercising more, if you have the ability to do so, it can make a huge difference. Like, I'm in the best shape of my life. Like, I haven't been this weight or felt this good since high school, and when you are 43, obviously, and you don't look 43, again, people, usually ask how are you doing it and whatnot. But again, it took a lot of hard work. I had to cut back on fast food, cut back on soda, exercise like a madman with my pup, and again, when you end up walking as often as I do, that definitely helps. But, I was 90 pounds heavier a few years ago. So I definitely had to really push and, put myself, through the ringer. And, you have to hold yourself accountable. But if you're willing to do that and put in the hard work, you can make your dreams and goals happen. Not only here with me on YouTube, but in my personal life. And a nice single there by Cole Young. I wish we could have gotten that when he had bases loaded. A couple opportunities missed by Cole Young, but great hustle to get to first base safe. And again, he wasn't able to get those guys knocked in those first couple at-bats, which could have led to a 6-2 or 6-3 score at this point, but at least he ends up getting a hit here. All right, next up is J.P. Crawford. On deck is Julio Rodriguez, and if we get lucky enough, we'll get to Cal Raleigh. And maybe we can get a home run here late. Even if we lose, I would rather lose 6-3 rather than 6-1. Yeah, you've had some bad luck, with just overall, just kind of mishaps, minor injuries, major injuries, on top of just, migraines and being sick and whatnot here and there. Hope things get a little bit better for you, where, you always are going to be having these things, but hopefully you can kind of spread them out so they're not just like back to back to back all the time. So that way you can kind of get back to more of a regular routine for yourself. Top of the ninth with 2 outs, 6-1. Oh, did they call Cole Young out? Unbelievable. Did they challenge that? And we can't even get they can't even let us have Cole at first. Brutal. Unbelievable. Wow, they reversed that call. Just give him the fucking single, Jesus. All right, next up is JP Crawford. Now we're at our last batter potentially here. First pitch low and at the knees, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike to JP Crawford. One pitch, low and away with the 4-seam fastball. 2 balls and 1 strike from Kelly to Crawford. Come on, JP. 2-1 pitch, takes a strike swinging low and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody on, 2 outs. They couldn't even give us the Cole Young single, which is insane. And now we got JP Crawford, who's on a cold streak, but let's see what we do here. 2-2 pitch, and Crawford lines out to first, and that is the game. I had a feeling that it was going to end 6-1. I mean, especially when you end the matchup with Ben, Cole, and JP, and all of them haven't got a hit. That's almost a recipe for disaster. But congratulations to the Athletics and Brent Rooker, 3-run blast. They played top to bottom. Great baseball here today. We won game 1. They won game 2. But again, we got Brian Wu on the mound tomorrow. So I like our chances tomorrow. So, oh, man, brutal. Yeah, it's all about, staying consistent, just like I do with the channel here. And, the more consistent you are, holding yourself accountable, you'll be able to lose that weight again. So, final score, Athletics 6, Mariners 1. Luckily, we don't get blown out like this that often. Out of all the games that we've played at this point, over 100, I think that we've only been blown out maybe 8 to 10 times. So again, we'll see where it goes tomorrow. 8-5 record for Brian Wu. Jeffrey Springs is 9-7. ERA is 2.91 for Wu, 4.13 for Springs, and a whip of 0.95 for Wu, 1.20 for Springs. So it should be a pitcher's duel tomorrow, but hopefully some home runs will, find their way, and we can find a way to get the series win and the dub. So love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very much. Hopefully we'll be able to get to 100 likes. I'm not sure how far away we are right now, but hopefully we'll get a few more likes after the stream ends, and then we'll be able to hit that 100 number. Where are we at right now? And we gained another sub. 74 subs to go to 21,300, but hopefully we're only a few subs away from that 100 number. 3 likes left. All right, well, if you're in the room and you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to that 100 like number. Obviously, this is not the outcome that we wanted, but shout out to all the new subs. Shout out to all the people that donated, on the stream. I appreciate every single person that showed love and support. Looks like we're at 98. We need 2 more likes. So smash that like button. There we go. And we got the 2 likes here. We hit 100. Great job all day. And again, I know that you were busy, visiting fam and whatnot, but we still got to the number. And it does show you it's a team effort. When you and me are in the building together, we can get to that 125, 150 range. But obviously, if, you got things you got to do, it's going to be a little bit tougher because I'm not going to mention it, every 5 minutes. We want to make sure we're calling the game instead of going over those things. But I do appreciate you very, very much. And hopefully we'll be able to get the dub tomorrow, and we'll see what your availability is tomorrow as well. Final score, Athletics 6, Mariners 1. Not the outcome that we wanted, but shout out to the Athletics and their fan base. And hopefully tomorrow will be a little bit better. Love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very much. We'll be live tomorrow, same time, same place, 7 o'clock Pacific, hopefully with a different outcome. And I got one question for you. Who talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Shout out to STL, as well as Not JT and a few others for the support. Appreciate you guys very, very much. And I love you guys. And I am out. Tridents up. Go Mariners.